Welcome to Buckets, your daily NBA betting podcast presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I'm Brandon Kravitz, joined by the market maestro, Michael Fiddle, the prince of props, Joe Dellera here as well. We are coming to you on quite possibly the worst night in NBA history. So bad that it might be good. I lie. There's no chance that this lives up to the 11 games before it or the 11 games after it. Seriously, what are we doing? 11 games tonight as we record this, 11 games on Friday. That's League Cup action. One game on Thursday. Who let this happen? Either way, we're going to break it down. Every painstaking detail of Clippers versus Suns with no Kawhi Leonard and no James Harden. Joe, who fell asleep at the wheel in the league office to let this happen to us?
Honestly, I think that we need to blame Matt Moore for this because he scheduled the three of us to be recording on this entire slate. So
does this mean we're in the doghouse?
This is Matt's fault.
Yeah. What just Fiddle, what is this? What is this schedule quirk? Like, why even bother? It's a late tip, NBA TV. Just give the night to the NFL and just take a break. I don't understand if you're gonna do the standalone, it should be a big deal. And instead it's like this throwaway where the teams themselves don't even seem to be taking it seriously.
Yeah, I guess the only rationale for it is like Clippers were just on a back-to-back, and so then they have to go to NBA Cup on Friday. So you couldn't force this game on Wednesday and give the Clippers 3 games in a row. That just doesn't happen in NBA scheduling. And then you don't want to load up other teams for back-to-backs prior to NBA Cup Day. So I guess it's just getting us ready for Emirates Friday on NBA Cup week, and that we're just fixated on that. And also, yeah, it's Broncos and Raiders, and it's kind of like 4 years ago when there was that Broncos Colts game where there was not a single touchdown on Thursday night, and it went to overtime, and it was only 7 field goals scored in the game. So I kind of feel like this is the NBA version of that, and yet the Broncos are now back on Thursday night a few years later.
Does that mean that we should just auto bet the under here? Because I don't think that's one of our plays tonight.
It has moved 4 points under so far.
Okay. All right. So at least the thought process is aligned with the market early on. By the way, a phenomenal breakdown by you guys. I gotta give a hat tip to last night's episode. I get back home from working the Magic game and I throw buckets on live. And I'm listening to you guys in the dark, laying like a vampire on the couch, listening to buckets as you guys put me to sleep. And I mean that in a positive way. I needed to get to bed. But the live betting conversation that you guys had in yesterday's episode was absolutely phenomenal. Riveting stuff, important information. So go ahead and check out yesterday's episode when you're done with this one, which won't be long from this very moment right now. It is a very important conversation in terms of live betting strategies and also understanding if you're somebody that's not good at that, because I think the live betting availability is, I'm not getting fully back into this conversation, just giving my piece, and we can move on here. But it's great that we have that availability on the sports books that we assign ourselves to, because there are angles of profitability. There are also tons of mousetraps involved in that. And I think people get themselves in a lot of trouble. Be honest with yourself if you're good at that or if you're not, and have a plan going in. But listen to yesterday's episode. Really fascinating conversation. Fiddle, what did you learn in the association tonight thus far?
I'm going to go with the New York Knicks back at full strength. I think they had a slow start to the year. Towns was dealing with a quad injury. Josh Hart was out. I actually still have the Knicks power rated, market rated as the best team in the East, second best team in the East. I'm not taking any fallback or any kind of slack what they've done to the start of the year. Like they're just as good as we projected them to be. They crushed Minnesota with Anthony Edwards back. It was just a no contest in the fourth quarter. They look really good tonight throughout and through. So I think like getting Mike Brown up to speed would take a few games from what they were used to. They clearly put Bridges in a slightly different role. But yeah, I think the Knicks are just going to be one of the strongest teams in the East. And I'm not concerned by anything we saw early this season.
Joe, what about you?
I love it. Knicks podcast. I thought that from today, one of the things that we were able to learn is that, I'm watching the start of this game now, but Oklahoma City, it literally just doesn't seem to matter who's in the game, who is playing, who's active, who's inactive. This team has just been rolling, and this is like a bad rest spot for them too. They're right now. It's almost halftime. They're up 8 points on the Blazers. So it remains to be seen if they can actually close this one out, but they've been competitive. They're looking great. They haven't lost a game yet, obviously, but just definitely interested in this Oklahoma City team to the extent of like, how good are they really going to be when everybody's healthy, everybody's playing? I think that the league is just on notice that this has just been a very underrated start. It's been like a quiet, undefeated start for Oklahoma City, and they've been incredible from every time I'm watching them, no matter who's on the floor.
I cannot peg this team correctly. They're not as good as they are in terms of win-loss record. Against the spread, they've struggled. They're an even 500 going into tonight's game. As we're watching them take on the Portland Trailblazers, the game's a little bit closer than it was a couple of minutes ago. I have bet against the Thunder 3 times this season. I'm 0-3 betting against OKC, so has not worked out well for me, but hopefully for some others. So perhaps if this doesn't go well, by the way, because this was a 2-unit play on the Portland Trailblazers tonight. Great CLV, but as we know, that hasn't exactly been as profitable as we like it to be in the NBA this season. I may have to back off of betting against those Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm with Fiddle as far as one of the big takeaways being in that Timberwolves New York Knicks game that we saw earlier tonight. This is, and it's more so the Minnesota side. Minnesota is struggling against good teams with or without Anthony Edwards. Their only wins this season are against Portland, and they had to rally to win that one in the opener. Indiana, one of the other ones, they're terrible. Brooklyn and Charlotte. And they're not just losing to good teams. They are getting dominated by good teams. Their average margin of loss is over 10 points per game. So there's something amiss with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Betting market rankings have them as about the 11th best team in the NBA right now. Dunks and threes has them at 10. The bottom line is right now, if they face a team that's above them in those rankings, they should be a fade until further notice. Is that a pickup for you as well, Fiddle, as far as the other side of the equation in that game?
Yeah, losing Nickeil Alexander-Walker, like big loss for the Timberwolves. Looks like Gobert is certainly a step slower. I actually think Julius Randle's playing great, but besides that, it's really slim pickings for Minnesota. Fortunately, like just as we were talking about Mike Brown, Chris Finch is a phenomenal coach, so I do think they'll sort it out. Maybe they make a roster move of some kind. They do have some assets, so it just salary cap wise, they're in a little bit of cap lack of flexibility with the trade rules that the aprons dictate. So we'll see, but I'm not too concerned about the Wolves long term, but they're pretty bad right now.
We're going to hop into our best bets of the night, our single game slate in a moment. Also, another one, if you just wanted one more quick note from the 11 game slate, team total over for the team that's playing against the Wizards. Just jot that down as a quick note for yourself. The Boston Celtics put up $136 on Washington. We're going to hop into our best bets for the Thursday single game slate shortly, but first we'll throw it over to the mayor of Buckets, Matt Moore, for a quick word about DraftKings.
The Buckets podcast is teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. To get started, Use promo code BucketsNBA when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code BucketsNBA when signing up and bet $5 to get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours.
You know, for those that are watching live, Oklahoma City was up by 22 not that long ago. They lead by just 4 now. So we got ourselves a game here between the Thunder and the Portland Trailblazers. Let's cover that 5.5. All right, gents, let's get into it. We're going to do things a little bit differently today because there's only one game. So we're not each going to give out a 3-star, 2-star, and a 1-star because that would be 9 plays in the game. And frankly, that's just too many for this basketball game. Couple of the storylines to follow. James Harden is out for this game. Kawhi Leonard continues to be out for the LA Clippers. Bradley Beal is supposed to play, and so we have a revenge game opportunity here. And Jalen Green, who has not played yet with his new team, the Phoenix Suns, is set to make his debut in this matchup. This was, as of earlier Wednesday, was Suns plus 4.5. And then the news about James Harden came out, and it went down to Suns minus 1.5. Now we're sitting at minus 2.5 on the Phoenix Suns. I still like Phoenix. Fiddle, you agree with this? You're going to make this our 3-star play for the night, a collective 3-star play on the Phoenix Suns at home, who have been cover machines in Phoenix.
Yeah, Brandon, you mentioned those market ratings before, having the Minnesota Timberwolves 11th. So if we use those, it's just what's the collection of closing lines and data that we have this season, and how do we project that forward? It's kind of a transitive property or chain law, if you're a math person, to understand how it prices future games on neutral courts, and then you add a 3-point home court factor. So if you do those rankings and power rates and put them up against each other, it should be Clippers minus 4.2 on neutral. Then you go to 1.2 at Phoenix, and then you have to do a manual adjustment for James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. And for me, they're a combined 5 points in my player value rankings. So I'm looking at all that data, and I'm like, this should be Phoenix minus 4.5. And they also have a stronger home court advantage than most people. It was true for the Phoenix Mercury all WNBA season as well. There's a great crowd in Phoenix. Matt Ishbia knows how to rile up a crowd, grabbing some balls from Jokic and getting a technical foul on Jokic. So it's just like, I don't know why we're sitting at Suns minus 2.5, and we get Jalen Green back. Like, I thought I was going to struggle to find a play. It became very obvious that this is a Sun spot.
Yeah, completely with you on that. I was able to grab this at 1.5, but even at 2.5, like you said, I mean, think about who's on the other side here too, just from a basketball perspective. Old man Chris Paul, old man Brook Lopez, erratic John Collins. It's a bad group, and LA hasn't covered in their past 5 games. Phoenix undefeated against the spread at home. This team is bad, but they have been scrappy. They almost came back against the Golden State Warriors the other night, down by 20. They're the only team to have beaten the San Antonio Spurs this season, and they owe 1 to LA. So if you want to go revenge factor too, if you're a spot play type of individual, they lost by 27 against this team, second game of the season. We need full consensus though, Joe. Are you in on the 3-star play of the Phoenix Suns tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the Suns are just in a much better position. Obviously, they have to reintegrate Jalen Green, but I think at the same time, that's still a boost in talent, regardless of how you put it. And I think, honestly, Jalen Green can be coming out with a little bit of a mission to be like a team player. I don't know what the minutes are going to look like. They haven't really disclosed that yet. But I do think that he's going to be reinvigorated, new team, new level of focus. I think it's a good opportunity for Jalen Green and the Phoenix Suns.
2-star play tonight. Colin Gillespie of the Suns over 4.5 assists on a team full of inconsistent players. Colin Gillespie is the one guy that I feel like I know exactly what I'm going to get night to night. He's averaging 5.7 assists on the season. And even if you remove his one outlier game in a positive direction. So I'm going to take the 13 assist game out against Utah. He's still averaging exactly 4 assists per game. Now, that is just south of the number, but then you factor in the matchup. This Clippers defense, not what they were a year ago, 6th most assists allowed per game in the league. You also factor in the fact that they're missing Kawhi Leonard, who is one of their best defenders. He slid past this the last time he played against the Clippers, and that was a Clippers team that was at full strength. So a nice, neat number for a guy who's going to be in range this entire game. Fiddle, are we good with the 4.5 over on Colin Gillespie?
Yeah, certainly. I've actually been quite impressed with him. Phoenix lacks a point guard. It looks like he's filling that role pretty well.
And then we're going to get a little wild with the 1-star play tonight. Joe, I tee it up to you. Let's get silly.
So we're going to go with Chris Paul, double-double. We'll probably play a little bit of his PA and then also play double-double. Chris Paul is averaging, nobody freak out right now, 2.3 points and 3.9 assists this season. He is not playing a ton of minutes. He's not getting a ton of run. But I do think that this is an opportunity for him to really excel. Like, look, the 2 primary facilitators, 2 primary engines of this Clippers offense are not going to be on the floor, James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. It's not like Chris Paul is dead right now. Like, he's still Chris Paul. And the one game he actually played against Phoenix, he had his season high in assists. He had 8 assists in 20 minutes. Only took 1 shot. That's going to be, I think, the toughest part of this. So if you wanted just to go with maybe like an assist ladder instead, you go that way. I just think that this is an opportunity for Chris Paul to kind of excel and turn back the clock a little bit. He's not been asked to take a super heavy load here on the course of the season. This is one game, though, where he can kind of get out there, stretch the legs, and excel. It's not like, he got to warm up a little bit for the for my Love is Blind people. He was at the reunion shooting free throws, but for a ring, and maybe that's the closest he gets to a ring. We'll see. But either way, I do like the double-double here. I think it's a pretty good spot, and I think the number is going to be outrageous. I built it. I was looking back at the old lines for last game. Obviously we're not going to get that, but the lines were more or less like manually building it 100-1 for him to get a double-double. I don't think we're going to get that here with Harden out, Kawhi out, but I do think that we're going to get a pretty significant number on this double-double. So you might have to manually build it, 10 assists, 10 points, do it that way, or maybe just go with 10 assists. I really don't mind either way. I think it's going to be a fun bet, and you're rooting on something that doesn't necessarily impact our Suns play either. So Chris Paul double-double for all the marbles here.
Easily the best cap that I'm going to hear all season is Chris Paul double-double. He's not dead. That's got to be it.
When I was on social media, when I typed in Chris Paul, the first thing that I saw was that he needs to hang him up, and I was like, oh, this is the perfect bet for tonight.
This is like the shot boxer bet.
Yeah.
The bigger question to me is this actually going to be available? Like,
yeah,
we're
so
saying
actually
this is not on DraftKings right now as we speak.
No, the only DraftKings just opened up actually a couple props for this game. He's not listed. They've listed Zoo, Beal, Collins, Derrick Jones Jr., who also could be a look for some PRA stuff. But that's all we got right now. So hopefully they pop his lines. I would imagine that he draws a start. If he doesn't, then it's going to really get hairy in terms of when we ever get a line. But I do think that there's going to be an opportunity to bet on something for Chris Paul in this game.
Before we get out of here, it is time for our DraftKings segment. Only one game in the NBA, as we've detailed. So we're going to slam what we love the most together with the one game that's in the NFL. I know this is buckets, but I'm also the host of the favorites on the Action Network podcast, Action Network YouTube channel, and the array of podcasts that are out there. So go and check that out as well. I do love the Raiders plus 9.5. That was one of my favorite plays this week. So, gents, we are going to slam together the Suns money line. Will erase the spread here with the Las Vegas Raiders plus 9.5 against the Denver Broncos. A nice Thursday night cross-sport special plus 219 at DraftKings. And that is your Thursday night, not technically a same game parlay, but a cross-sport parlay between the Suns and the Las Vegas Raiders plus 9.5. The crown is yours. All right, that's a wrap, folks. Thanks to Joe Dellera, Michael Fiddle for joining me tonight. It was a nice, short, condensed episode. Everything you needed to get you ready for Clippers versus Suns. If you want to tail some bets, look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description, or head to the Action Network YouTube channel. You can also head to actionnetwork.com/bet now. Shout out to DraftKings. The crown, of course, is all yours. We'll see you next time right here on Buckets. Until then, let's cash these tickets.